Hey everyone, it's Sarah Oblak Spiker here from Elite Mystic Agency. I wanted to talk to you about changing your past in order to change your future. And I also would love to indulge you in this beautiful nature that I'm immersed in today with my puppy, moving the office outdoors. And we're just taking a little break here so that we can talk about this concept that I heard for the first time through Jason Silva. It was a very intriguing idea and it gave me a pause and it made a total sense. And the reason I want to share it with you is because, again, it's something that has been not only my own personal experience, but something that we have done with our clients many times. See, changing our past in order to change a future might sound quite out there, but if you really think about it, it's not all that complicated. Now, before I continue, I just want to set something straight. In order to do this safely, you need to seek out an expert who is qualified to guide you through certain methodologies, certain steps, because doing so in a irresponsible manner can cause more harm than good. Now, there are some aspects that you can certainly do on your own and get started on your own, and this is where I want to start this video with. And what I wanted to share with you are some tools that you can actually apply for yourself. So let's get started. Have you ever felt like, when you think about certain events in your past, that you are truly dispowering yourself and you're putting yourself in a state of despair, in a state of anger, in the state of agony? You're taking your own power away. Let me give you an example. Actually, I'm gonna use my own, because why not, right? It is something that I always said I would share what I wish somebody else shared with me when I was in those moments in life. So here we go. In 2017, 2018, I felt this great need to go home to Slovenia. My husband would not move here from New York, so I took the girls and we spent 4 months in my home country, and it was the most glorious experience. It allowed me to reconnect with myself. It allowed me to slow down and just heal some wounds that started to come to the surface, that I started to uncover. Some were my own, some were passed down through generations. Doing so at the time also called me to invest in experts that were way beyond my budget. But, calling in that kind of support, I also called in the finances. And here's where the story really gets sticky. I was in a space at a time when investing $10,000 a month was like, wow, my ego was glowing, because look at me now, I'm playing with the big people here, right? I am now super important. I'm experiencing this high premier level of support that only 1% or so in the world can afford, and here I am. It was this space of importance by association. Totally, it was. That prompted me to then turn around and lead with my ego what I thought would make me feel important among my peers, and what will bring in clients who would also put me on a pedestal, just like I have those people who I hired at the time. The flip side of the story was also the fact that in order to swing those hefty investments, I had to tap into support of the bank account that my husband and I shared. And he stretched himself way beyond what I would feel comfortable asking him in order to make it happen. And that was the beginning of the shit show storm that I got myself tangled in my own mind. Because the moment that he showed so beautifully and powerfully how much he indeed believes in me, I perceived it as, oh my gosh, he has come to my rescue, and now I need to make sure that I pay every cent back, and if I don't, I'm worthless. Imagine the heaviness of that self-talk. And that self-talk has evolved and it grew into a monster that has been sitting on my shoulders for a long time, replaying this old tape of giving my power away and tippy-toeing my way through the world because I felt incompetent. I felt like a failure. I felt like a fraud because so many things that I charted out to achieve in that period of time back then, I didn't see how it was coming to be because, you know, just like I shared in another video, this myopic thinking can really take a toll. So what happened was this downward spiral when the more that I thought about how I failed our family, how I failed my clients, how I failed myself, how I'm just incompetent, the harder I tried to overcompensate for it. And the more I tried to give myself away, the more it came from this desperate energy of trying to prove myself and justify everything. It became so heavy that I got sick and tired of even listening to my own voice in the head. Here's where rewriting the past comes in. It is actually something that only requires a pen and paper and some time. And what it means is that you go back to those experiences and you write down every single of those statements. I'm a fraud, I'm incompetent, I own my husband, and I failed our family, and I'm not seeing those results, and all the self-talk, all the whispers that are, you know, on the back of your head, or sometimes it actually feels like there's a little entity sitting on a shoulder whispering into the ear. Most likely in the middle of the night when you're supposed to be sleeping, you're lying awake at 3:30 in the morning and going through this old tape, right? So write it all down. And then I would offer that you take every single one of the statements and really examine it. Like, is it really true? Is it the narrative that you're telling yourself the only narrative, or is there a more empowering way that you can do that? And at this point, like I said at the very beginning of the video, sometimes that exercise itself can be traumatizing. So if you feel that certain things are coming up, please seek a professional guidance to make sure that you actually get to process and alchemize those experiences, as opposed to having them re-traumatize you, or eventually having you just shove them back in a drawer, in a box, and push it somewhere in the dark corners of your conscious and subconscious mind, where it's gonna keep on living and haunting you. Okay? All right, so yeah, somebody's coming here. My puppy's alerting me. So yeah, in order to do that, like I said, it can be super simple. Hi. I know. She. So as you're going through that exercise, there's another layer that I would like you to be mindful of. As you're examining those old stories, pay attention to how you're feeling. What are the emotions that you're evoking? Because here's the kicker. Here's the meat and potatoes of rewriting the past in order to change your future. As glorious beings as we are, multidimensional beings, we are manifesting from the emotions. Our thoughts create emotions. Our thoughts create our emotions, and those emotions ultimately create the reality. They turn into things and they create reality because we perceive the world through that lens. So when we are feeling shitty about something that happened in the past, when we see ourselves as victims, when we are in this, when we're martyrs of our own past. Casey, give me a second.